doing both today. Yeah, thank you for the reminder about recording. This is our sort of demo review before the assessment. We need a home page. It needs links to other pages. And I won't flesh it out too much. We're going to want each product gets its own page. I'll call this like an individual product page, a page for each category: pet food, birds, mammals, and so on, of product. We'll call this the category page. And then we probably want a shopping cart checkout page. And this is where a lot of the features start coming into play. A user should be able to add one or more, add the product, more than one if desired, to the shopping cart. And the user should be able to see what's in their shopping cart. The actual assessment will have some more requirements, and there are some other things, but these are the core things and these are the core features that we're going to look at now. I think the key to tackling a project like this is we don't have to do all this work in this order. Just to kind of talk a bit about like the shape of our data. And so this is the spec really. And then let's call this like the implementation doc. And I think maybe the only other thing I'll add to the spec actually is, let's call it products.csv should have these fields. And we probably want ID, product name, and product category. And the
Maybe
item, sorry, oh yeah,
maybe image as well.
Totally, an image link. And then everything has a cost because this is a store. So we'll just call it cost. And actually I can just call this category. So it would look something like this. One, cat. And I don't know, what categories do we want for our pet shop? Like
mammals, like
pets, mammals,
Cat, dog, bird.
cat,
Kitten.
dog, bird, kitten. Yeah, I'm gonna go with,
Maybe the name should be, like the category should be cat, dog, bird, something like that. And then the name could be the name of the animal.
that's a good call. Yeah, mittens, cat. That's a great call. We'll DjangoPetStore.com static mittens.jpg. That's our imaginary URL to this cat. Actually, let's just let's find a cat. Perfect. So this is mittens. Let's see. name, category, image, and how much does a cat cost?
$20
$20. I love it.
from a rescue.
20. Yeah. And it'll be, let's just say it's an integer or a decimal value. And then we'll have, what's our next product that we want here for our animals?
Litter box.
For litter box. Great call. Litter box. The category is going to be
Accessories.
accessories. That's a pretty great one. Cat toilet, and let's say the litter box is $10. And this is, what did we say this was? Products.csv. So now we have a little bit of fake data and a schema for our products. We learned with SQL and Postgres, you know, potentially we could make like a categories table and structure our data a lot more. The truth is that for the purposes of this exercise, we can keep it relatively simple. And then I think the other thing that we should spec out a little bit is the shopping cart. And here we need the product ID and the quantity that we want. And to be honest, I'm going to put well, let's start. That could be it. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, agreed. We can start there. We can worry about if we want to duplicate some data in here to make our life easier later on. So 2 cats and 1 litter box. And I'll sort of use Django style comments over here. Yeah, and do people have questions or what's on people's minds as we're building this? Gabo, that's a great question. Why is the shopping cart a CSV file? So stepping back, again, honestly, the reason we're not using Postgres is because we just learned stuff with Psycho PG2 this week. And there's a lot that's awesome about it, but there's also a lot of moving parts. So we're kind of going back in time to CSV files. The one plus is this also is a good way to start thinking about like all these concepts translate across. Like we're essentially creating a shopping cart table. We're just storing that data in a CSV file instead. So I do think it's like another useful way of looking at the important concepts. And my thinking was this product's CSV file, once we create it, it will never change. We just need to read from it. The shopping cart, though, will change because a user is going to be able to add something to the shopping cart. And honestly, they should probably be able to remove something too. So yeah, we have to write to a CSV. We have to modify a CSV. That will be your task. That's part of why we're doing this review as well. It'll be good practice, to be honest, just with Python and programming. And the reason it's 2 separate files is because the data in this one never changes. While the shopping cart, we will be changing what's in that CSV file. So it's easier to keep them separate. Does that help, Gabo? And what other questions or thoughts do folks have about the CSV files? Because I agree that's an area that can be a little confusing.
So this isn't going to be in command line format with the CSV like we've done before. We'll be doing this in an actual website format with Django, with an interface and all of that, correct?
Mhm. Yes,
Yes. I mean, a lot of it, I think, will be similar to the way you've done it before on the command line, but yes, we are going to grab the data from the CSV file with Django and display it on a website.
So I have a question about it strikes me that we need to be able to create this in a development environment and then eventually push it to a Postgre database or SQLite. So based on the migrations or make SQL migrations, we should be able to change the database technology, mash a few buttons, and it should quite quickly write to that database store. Is that true?
when we're using models, I believe it would be similar. So if you change just the database engine, then it would be quick. But the difference between what we're doing today, which is writing CSVs, that won't translate to the database necessarily, unless you write it specifically to be like that. But I think it would be more trouble than it's worth.
Yeah, agreed. And in the real world, you probably would be using a database for what we're doing, though there is an incredible amount of stuff out there where tons of data lives in spreadsheets that really should belong in a database. And people, and there are all sorts of crazy programs out there that do stuff with it. So it's actually not that unrealistic that at some point in your career, you will have to be doing all sorts of stuff with CSV files that you would think would be done with the database.
Yeah, I had to do it at least like 4 times during my time at work.
Yeah. Yeah. It turns out that like Excel is like the most successful graphical programming language in existence. And like that spreadsheet user interface is super friendly. So that's like the link between programmers and the rest of the world is a spreadsheet.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And and we'll touch on like writing to the CSV, like writing one line versus overwriting the entire file and stuff like that. So don't worry about that.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And Zainab, do you have strong feelings about starting this project from sort of the front end first or the back end first, of like faking the user interface, or like getting the CSV stuff working and then creating the user interface?
So I wrote a lot of the code that does the CSV work. I wrote like a CSV interface for us. So we can just start with the interface, and then we can implement grabbing the data when we get to the views. So
Awesome.
definitely.
That sounds good.
Whenever you're ready, I can share my screen.
Cool. What I want to do in part for the class is write out a little bit of like, you would write this in pseudocode, but with bigger projects like we're doing now, sometimes it would be in a doc. I wanted to put together like a little implementation doc and share that with people. And that's part of why I was curious to see which way you wanted to tackle it from.
Mm-hmm.
So I think step one is like create the Django project, right? And do a hello world to make sure everything's working, and we, we'll do the venv and all that stuff. And then it sounds like the next step is to create the CSV files. And then it sounds like the next step is to implement our CSV reading code in Django. So we prototype it and print something to terminal with data from a CSV file. After that, I'm thinking create homepage. We need the route, we need the template, display CSV data on homepage, prototype, use Bootstrap on homepage, and like grid, navbar. And that gets us pretty far. And that's probably a good time to switch gears so that we can start coding and stuff. But I wanted to kind of share this because note that like the path that we're kind of mapping out is not the order of like going through the requirements in order. We're kind of thinking through, all right, like what's the simplest way to do each step to get like one part of it working end to end. And that's what I wanted to demonstrate a little bit of as well. And I should stop sharing my screen now. And yeah, Zainab, let's go for it and write code.
Awesome.
Yeah. And now also for pairing, I have that doc that I can look at. I'm pulling it up on another monitor so I can use it as a reference too while navigating.
Awesome. I actually started another doc. These all live in the Sierra Classroom drive.
Oh, awesome.
I started a doc. It's going to be a Django cheat sheet. So just running through the steps of what you're doing, just because it's all repetitive and it kind of is like memorizing. So just having it on a piece of paper, you don't have to memorize it. Just, yeah, go through the steps. So for this project, all I did was I have a virtual environment that's activated. I installed Django. I started a project called Pet Shop Project, and then I started an app within that project called Pet Shop App, just to save us time of having to sit through that. Okay, so what's our next step?
I think our next step is let's run the server and see a hello world in the browser and make sure that everything with Django is okay so far.
Well, so one thing is, according to your spec, we need to set up like the settings.
Oh, we do have to do that.
We should probably do that. So we have to
thank you.
install.
That is, I should read the spec after writing it.
So Pet Shop app, I'm gonna install or add to the installed apps. If we end up using, we're not going to use a database today, so I don't want to mess with that one.
Yeah.
If we end up using any static files, which we probably are.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Static files underscore there's a list, and here it's directory / static.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna add in here into my project. Oops, not a file. I want to add a folder called static.
Nice. And we could even, I maybe should have added this to the implementation doc. We could do something really simple to confirm that we've set up all those static files correctly, like add, I don't know if it would be like an image asset or a JavaScript file that prints hello world in the developer console. I don't know what your thoughts are about that.
So from the settings.py standpoint, as long as you have a folder called static, that's a good enough check. So if I don't have this folder created and I have this setting, it'll give me an error and it won't be able to start the server. So I think that's one way of checking. Awesome. Is to start run server.
Got it. Thank you. Awesome.
So I should be able to. Where's okay.
Awesome.
Okay. So our settings should probably be done. What do we do next?
I think the next thing is probably to create the CSV files. What do you think?
Let's do it. Where should we put the files?
I am actually not. Sorry?
Maybe in our app?
Yeah, they should. That's a good question.
I'm going to create a.
Yeah. I mean, they could also go in the static directory in theory, I guess, but yeah, I think data, I think that makes sense.
I figured to have them close to the views because we would probably be
Oh, that's a good call.
around here.
Yeah.
Just so we don't have to traverse too many folders.
Great call. Thank you.
What's our file name?
Yeah, first one is, let's just call it products.csv. And let me look at the doc and I'll just read off the fields. I think we probably want a first row. What do you think? Do we want a first row with the headers, or do you feel like
Yeah, we
that's
should.
not?
I think
Okay.
that's the way that we can define our data. So we can just at
Agreed.
least have the headers, yeah.
Agreed. We've got ID. Let's just say name instead of product name to keep life simple. Category, image underscore URL, and cost. And I suppose if we wanted, we could put cost before image URL because the image URL is kind of separate, but it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
And
then just make sure when
Yeah.
you're creating your CSVs to hit enter to have this. So when you're trying to append to it,
Yeah.
if you don't have this empty line, it'll append to the end of this line. Yeah, that's just a little.
that
CSV.
is an excellent point. Yeah, it's that enter. There's like a hidden new line character, and that's what terminates a line in a CSV
Mhm.
file.
Definitely.
Wait, could you repeat that step? What do we do?
So whenever you finish writing a CSV file, make sure there's an empty line after the last line of data. Because when you're using like the CSV library, when it appends to the end of the file, which sometimes ends up being up here if you don't have this empty line. So if it was like this, it'll add the new line data right next to it instead of on the second line. So just make sure you have an extra line.
Yeah, and it's all like I forget stuff like that all the time, which is why I'm always looking for ways to like use print statements and stuff to make sure that stuff works as expected.
Mhm.
So that's another thing with the CSV file, like, and we'll do that now. We'll get some print statements going. But yeah, let's throw some data in there. So middens has an ID of 0.
IDs usually start from 0 or 1. I'm not sure.
Yeah, let's do 1. I think that's a good call. There's no.
I'm just thinking of
Um,
database.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yep, middens. I don't think we need quotes for strings in a CSV file. Is that?
No.
Yeah. Cat. Let
And then
me.
I have it open under right here.
Okay. I can also throw it. Perfect. I can throw it in the Zoom chat too, if that's helpful.
Oh, awesome. And then cost 20.
Yep, $20.
I'm just gonna copy what you have on.
Go for it. Yeah.
So I'm gonna delete the spaces just so I don't have to deal with them.
Good call. Thank you. Yeah,
This looks good.
good call. Oh, and change the ID from 1 to 2 on line 3
Oh, thank you.
for sure. Yeah, that's I could totally see myself getting tripped up with that. I think the next step is let's write some code to read this CSV file and either print, maybe just even print it out in the terminal in run server, or whatever the easiest way is to confirm that we successfully read that data.
Okay, I'm gonna just create a file here. Text CSV. Okay, so we need to grab the data.
Yep.
Okay. Where do I have it? So I actually have, should I show the interface that I wrote? Or should
Yeah,
I?
let's see it. That sounds awesome.
I wrote a class that handles like CSV reading and writing. a little bit. So let me just show how I was testing it out, actually, it'll be easier. So I had like some seed data. So you instantiate it just by calling a regular class, and then you send in the file name. And then, where is it? Okay, so it takes in a file name to instantiate this class. And then from that file name, it gives you the column names, so it saves that. It holds on to the file name for later use. And then it grabs all the data that is currently in the file. So it instantiates the entire list of all data. And there's a few functions that I have written also. One of them is update data from file. This will read the data from the file, update the all data list that I have defined here. So in my init, and then return the new list. So this is basically the code. We've seen this many times before. You just open a file with a read flag. You set the read, like make a reader out of a dictionary reader. And then for each row, it'll append to a list. And then that list becomes all of our all data list.
So how does that method modify the CSV file?
So this doesn't, this is just reading. I have many methods. So this one, update data, update this data from the file. So it reads from the file and then it updates the all data instant or attribute.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. How would you?
Yeah, this one just reads, right here, self.all_data equals the data that I have read in from the file.
Got it. Self.all. Right. I see. I see. Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you.
Of course. So to append a singular row to a CSV file, you have to open, here, let me delete this. You have to open the file with an A flag, and that allows you to only append, so it doesn't rewrite your entire file. So if I wrote it with a W, that will replace all the contents that are in that file and overwrite them. So A allows you to open a file with an append flag. And so I create a writer from the dictionary writer. It uses the column names that I had grabbed already because it knows the context of the file. And then I just write the row and then I update the all data list. And then I return the new data. Any questions on this? Does it make sense? No question.
The update data from file is up top, right?
Yeah, this is, I just
Okay.
wrote the one function that refreshes the entire list.
Okay.
Yeah. And then write all rows. This one, oops. This one does something similar to this, but instead of writing one row, it writes write rows. So it grabs a list of dictionaries and it replaces everything. It rewrites the entire CSV file with the new data. So whatever data I send to it, it'll populate the entire CSV.
And does that overwrite existing data in the CSV?
Yeah.
Cool.
So this is rewriting the CSV file with new data. This last one deletes a row. So you have to send in a dictionary of the data to be removed. So the data is a list of dictionaries. So you find which one you want to remove and you send it into this function. And this one will remove it from the all data list. I rewrite the file using the, oops, I changed the name. Okay. I rewrite the CSV file using my function up here that writes all rows to file. and then I update the new list from the file, and that is it. So a remove, append, rewrite, and read.
Cool. That's
Question?
awesome.
You scroll down to the bottom again real quick.
Mhm.
Does the update data from file need the parentheses?
Yes, it does. Thank you. Yeah.
And the
So,
re and oh, sorry.
oh, no.
The rewrite is because when you take out of your CSV, you need to put it into the shopping cart, and so you're needing to rewrite your other one is why you're.
No, so this is not to take it out and put it in a shopping cart. This is more deleting a data point. So if you have a list of products and you want to delete an entire product, this is how you do it. Or if you have a list of things that are in a shopping cart and you want to delete something from the shopping cart, this is what you would use.
Yeah. And
You would
like,
find the information, delete it.
and the context here is like sometimes with CSV files or other ways that we store data, like when we need to change something, like removing the third row, instead of trying to figure out, like, get exactly where in the CSV file is the third row and only change that one row in the file, sometimes it's easier to just suck up the data we need to read it from the CSV file, work with it as lists and dictionaries, in our Python code, which is much more manageable to work with, create like the new version of what we want, and then just overwrite everything in the CSV file. And we'll see that with some React stuff as well. Like, it's like, instead of trying to like mutate that CSV file, we're essentially just creating like a whole new one in the same spot.
Mhm.
If I'm understanding what that's doing correctly, Zainab.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Um,
it's a lot easier to keep track of what's going on, like by doing it that way.
Definitely. And yeah, so here you're just dealing with dictionaries. You're just dealing with objects that you're moving around, and it's much easier to traverse. Okay, we
Yeah,
can.
that's
we can just
awesome.
do it out if you'd like.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Should we put it where?
So I just moved it to.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I moved it to the same level as the views and the models and the data folder, just all up here.
Nice. Yeah, let's use it in the test CSV file, and I guess let's read something and print it.
Yeah. So from CSV interface, I'm going to import CSV interface. And then to instantiate it, I'm going to say this is going to be my products interface. So my products interface is going to be an instance of the CSV interface, and I just need to send in a file name. And this file name is going to be ./data/products.csv. Okay, so I should have access to, let me just print this, okay. I should have access to the column names, so I can use those in my program. And then I should also have access to all the data. So
That's awesome.
products interface dot all data.
Yeah.
And
we can just run it.
yeah,
We can just run this test CSV file. We don't have to run Django or anything.
yeah, exactly. So Python. And
this is a great like development technique, folks, for like building and debugging. Like, just because we're using Django doesn't mean we kind of have to like the analogy that I keep thinking of is it's like just getting under the hood of a car, or like, I know I say this all the time, but like, if you're putting together some IKEA furniture and something doesn't quite fit, you kind of bang on it with a hammer. Like, we can do whatever we want with the code. that helps us get stuff done. And let's see what no such file or directory.
I think it's because I was in. When I was
/. Yeah.
No, so I had it like that before, but it didn't work. So I think it was because I was in the project directory, not in the app directory. So I'm just gonna run the test.csv, and there we go. Hold on, I'm gonna clear and run it again.
Yeah.
Okay, so our column names are ID, name, category, image URL, and cost, which is correct. And then we have our data points. So this is our first one. We have mittens, category cat, image URL, and cost. And then we also have the litter box down here.
Awesome. Nice. Let's test appending a column. Let's add some new data.
So let's say new data.
What should be?
So I'm gonna copy this.
Yeah.
Just because it's faster. So we probably need a ID3 name. What should our new product be?
Catnip.
Catnip.
Yeah.
Category.
And we can just leave the image URL, to be honest.
Yeah. And then cost maybe 5.
Perfect.
Okay. So to append, I'm going to access my products interface dot append one row to file, and then I'm going to send in my new data. And then, so I could access the all data again, or I can just say my data equals this, and then this is going to be the updated list. So if in the beginning I had said data equals product interface dot all data, and I'm using this throughout my program, whenever I append or I remove or do something to update it, I have to get that new data again, just because this one is going to be stale.
Yeah, and it's a common pattern that you'll see too, where like a method that modifies data stored somewhere will return the updated version, because so often we need to just go ahead and use it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I'm gonna append. Yeah, append one row and then print it out. Okay, let me actually just see it in my products, and there it is.
Nice, that's
Not a
awesome.
third one. Yeah.
Yeah, I would actually say let's print out products dot let's print out all data as well, just to confirm that that successfully got updated. It definitely did, because that's literally one line of code, but
Yeah.
that's just I've created so many bugs over the course of my career that I just check everything.
Yep. So these two lists should be the same.
Yeah,
Just gonna
awesome.
Here. Okay, it should append the same one. I'm just gonna add a new ID.
Oh yeah, it's gonna keep appending stuff. I guess that is the one challenge with, yep.
IDs, yeah. I guess I printed too many things. Okay, so this is the
Yeah,
column.
we can
names.
comment some lines out too, if we
Yeah,
want.
let's do that. Okay. Oh my god.
You want to comment out line 11
11, yes.
and
Wait,
12.
no, we're adding the data. Oh, you don't want it to add again?
Oh, I guess, oh,
No, we're
no, you're
testing
right. I
out.
guess we do
Yeah.
need to add, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, those are the only two printing. Okay, I can just delete a few items here because we added.
yeah,
so-
we're probably fine here too. I forgot that this gets messy because then we keep adding in test data.
Yeah,
Like, we're pretty
Okay.
confident about that code.
we have two lists and they look exactly the same. So this list
Awesome.
and this list. So yeah, you can access the data.
Yeah. Let's delete, let's just test out all the methods. Let's just like comment out everything we don't need here, test deletion,
Let's
and then
say
we can test
for-
rewriting everything.
Okay, so I'm gonna say for product in my data.
Do you want to comment out line 11
Oh,
so that we don't continually
new one.
append?
let's do that. So for product in my data, let's say I want to delete something with ID 3. So I'm gonna say if product at ID equals 3, then I'm going to call the products interface dot remove a row. And then I have to send a dictionary of the data to be removed. And I know that, so the data is a list of dictionaries and I'm looping through. So I have access to the dictionary that I want to remove right here because it stopped when the ID was 3. So I can just send that in. Product. This also returns an updated data. And then break. So once I do what I want to break out of this loop. I don't need to continue anymore. I just want to remove that one thing. And then I can access products interface dot all data. Just gonna fix that out. Okay. That's not a function. There we go. Clear. Okay. And so now we were supposed to remove the product with ID 3. And what happened?
There might
here?
have been more than one.
Was there? Okay, let me try to run it again.
Yeah, we can run it again.
Is this now less? No, it did not remove it from here. So I think I just need to fix this.
Yeah. We could console log to confirm to see what's
Hmm.
going on.
Yeah, so. So I'm gonna remove it, then print it out, and then see what happens. Am I calling the function? Remove a row? Yes. The product, okay.
Yeah.
ID 3 is still there. Okay, I'll workshop this. The remove is not working, but that's fine. We can just use
Well-
the pulling and adding.
Yeah, I would say let's take, if we can take a minute, I think because we definitely want, this is like a core feature. Let's take a look at the test CSV code for a sec. And let's see if product ID.
Oh, it might be a
Equals-
string.
Yeah, I was going to
It goes in
say,
here.
let's console log product below line 14.
Hold on one sec. It
Oh,
removed
did that
it.
do it?
Yeah, it was
Nice.
just that. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
So if you're looking for something in here, everything is a string. I completely forgot about that. We don't have integers here.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's all just strings in the CSV file.
Okay,
Yep.
so that works. And we were able
Awesome.
to do that third element.
Awesome. Yeah, and that was a good call to test the third one because it's not the last one in the CSV file. So we confirmed that we're selectively removing.
Mhm.
I think, is there one more method to test the rewrite
That is it.
everything method?
No, that is it. That one is just used by, it's used internally by this one, pretty much.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, you can use it, but sure, let's do it.
I see what you're saying. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, but we're really only intended to use the append and remove.
Yeah,
Got it. Awesome. Cool. This is great. Yeah. And so folks, we took a little while testing all this stuff, but this is also a pretty core feature set of what we're building. So now like we can use this code with confidence and it will give us a lot of like smooth sailing as we go forward.
Definitely.
Yeah. Should we take a short break and continue, or do we want to keep rolling?
I think if the students are okay, we should keep rolling.
Yeah, students, keep rolling.
Let's do it.
Yeah, Eric, yeah, so we can remove a product from the cart because we can delete a row. But if you want to change the quantity of, like, if you want 2 mittens, 2 cats, or like 3 catnips, or then it gets a little trickier, but we can actually do it relatively straightforwardly. And we'll take a look at that when we get there. I think it might be good now that we've got reading from a CSV file working to write an end-to-end
Page.
just bit of code. Yeah, just like let's make a homepage and let's
Let's do it.
show what people can buy at the pet store.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how you start it, but I usually start with the URLs. I define my URLs.
Go for it. That sounds great.
Okay.
And I totally admit I am rusty with Django at the moment because I haven't been doing a lot of it. So however you think is best to set up a homepage, I'm all for.
Okay. I created a urls.py in my app directory. I'm gonna do this copying. You guys know all of this stuff already. Or you've done it many, many times. So I'm gonna create a base path. I am going to
Oh,
have
Zainab,
it. Huh.
sorry to interrupt. Do we have this code in a repo at the moment?
The one that I just wrote? No, not yet.
The whole project. Got it. Okay.
No. I mean, it's in the demos and notes, but I haven't pushed it because I'm working on it.
Oh, okay. As long as it's in demos and notes and saved somewhere so we can push it later. I just wanted to double check.
Definitely.
Cool. Awesome. Perfect. Yeah. And again, that's just my paranoia. I feel really uncomfortable writing any code that I'm not like saving into a Git repo, just even on my local machine as I go.
Yeah. So I'm going to import the views from that import views. So
Yeah.
I'll have to put the
Yeah.
index in there. I'm going back to my project URLs. I'm adding.
Yeah. And actually, yeah. And actually, when you get to a good stopping point, I would love for us to commit the code that we have if we're set up to do that just locally. Now,
Sure.
okay.
Include the name of so it's pet shop app dot URLs. Okay, I think that's it.
Awesome.
This should be connected. This here does not have an index, so I need to go into my views and create that real quick.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, I guess once we get our Hello World working where we can see this stuff, that's actually a perfect time to commit because then we'll have like the app in a working state.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was my other thought too. Like I'll like commit in tiny chunks of like new feature behavior.
So from Django to HTTP, I'm gonna just do an HTTP response for now, because we don't have a page. So actually, do we want to just render a page? Because we're gonna have a homepage.
Yeah, I think that's a great call. Just like create a template and render it.
Yep. So I'm gonna create a templates folder. And in here, I'm gonna create an index.html. And here I'm just gonna have a header saying pet shop.
Can we give our pet shop a name?
Sure, if you can think of one,
Um,
and then I'm gonna render.
CP Pets Extraordinaire.
Sure.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Little
So,
Shop of Coders. Oh, Pet Shop Boys. That's a great. Yeah, there's a band named Pet Shop Boys. That's the joke there for people in the chat.
I'm gonna.
Nice. Oh man, that's heavy.
Do we want a different name?
No. I'm a fan. I love it. I love it.
Awesome. Okay. So we're just rendering our page. In theory, this should all work fine. So Python, manage.py. I'm in the wrong directory. Okay. Manage.py, run server. Okay, no issues. I think it did not return. Okay, I don't think I returned here. So I just did a render, but I didn't return.
Oh yeah,
the render.
that best kind of error.
Yeah. There you go.
Nice, awesome. Yeah, can we commit this code?
Sure.
That will make,
I'm just gonna do it here, if that's okay.
yeah, go for it. Of totally more than okay. I don't care.
I'm just gonna add a git ignore file.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a good call.
It's usually
Yeah, PyCache.
that I don't like. What else is in there? I think that's all for now. We don't have a .n or anything.
Yeah, the them is somewhere else. Yeah, got it.
Which is
Or maybe just
Initial
say
step.
like, yeah, perfect.
oops, I forgot to add this with it.
Yeah, we'll show you guys too. I think there's a way you can like browse through a code base on GitHub one commit at a time. So that's a really nice, that is one of the plus like of doing it this way too.
Okay.
This is
so
awesome. Yeah.
What should we display on our page?
Yeah, I think we should start by just printing out the pets and the things in the store.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I should import the CSV interface in here.
Agreed.
So
And I would
see-
say we can probably then just copy some of the code we wrote in that test file.
yeah. CSV interface. Okay, I'm gonna turn off my autosave. Oops. There we go. Test file is right here. I want to initialize it.
Yep. And are we at the same level in our project structure? Is that path still good?
It should be, yes.
Cool.
I am gonna initialize it above, so it's accessible by all of the methods.
That makes sense. Right. Yeah. Yep. Sounds good. I just wanted to think through to make sure we wouldn't run into any weird issues where one method doing stuff puts the state in a weird place, but we don't, because all the stuff we can do to the interface keeps the state up to date.
Definitely.
That wasn't explained very well, but hopefully the gist got through.
I understood. Okay, so we're grabbing the data and then we can just send it in. I'm gonna call this maybe products.
Yeah,
or
that sounds great. Products. I think that's perfect.
products, and then I'm gonna send in the data over here. And
Let's see. CSV.
I think this was just because it saved and it didn't
Oh yeah.
Oh, no, one sec. No module from. Oops, that was not supposed to happen. Okay, so now the data directory. Data. I mean, it should exist.
What's there that we're seeing here? No file. Let's see, we're in views. Views is right there. It should.
Yeah,
Kill it and run it again, and let's see.
yeah, it's the same. right?
Okay. What is the other?
Hmm?
Oh, Kelly was asking a question. Do we have to import CSV? I don't think we do because the CSV interface class does
Mhm.
that.
Yeah. It's up
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, that's one of the nice things. Great question. That's one of the nice things about writing a class. You get to bundle up all that sort of setup logic and stuff. So that is, I would have thought,
I think it's
Let's look-
because Django is running it through something, so maybe //
yeah, the app name,
yeah,
good call. This is Django magic being a little annoying.
okay.
Nice.
no,
Good call. Yeah, so
if
folks,
you're-
yeah, please.
Sorry. If your
No.
your imports aren't working, try adding the context.
That was the dub version, folks.
Okay, so we're just grabbing the data and then we're sending it as products into our index. We go into our index, we can loop through those products.
Yeah, this looks awesome. And should we just put this all in an unordered list?
Probably, yeah. Oops, unordered list.
Yeah, I'm thinking next we can add Bootstrap and then we get all our dependencies set up and working.
Sounds good. So for this, I'm just gonna make a list item.
So
and display. Product.name.
nice. Yeah, I think that's
Just for
great.
now.
Yeah, because we printed everything out. We know that we're reading and writing data correctly from that file. So we can be pretty confident that that dictionary is what we expect.
Okay, that did not work.
See.
Let's send, or let's print out the data that we get. Because
Yeah, that's a good call.
our data file is still full.
That's
so
a good
let's
call.
this.
Did we lose the headers in that data file?
Where?
Can we take a quick look at the products .csv file?
Yeah. Oh, it grabbed.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, that is something I'll fix with the update entire list because we need to append the header first.
yeah.
I
Can
understand that.
we?
Yeah, where's the?
Yeah.
So if you ever get to a point
Yeah.
where your data is not what you wanted it to be, just do a Command Z, and it'll go back to what it was.
That's a good.
So, yeah, if you ever accidentally.
That's a good call. Oh yeah, we probably did that manually. That wasn't an issue with the interface. That was us manually poking around and messing with it. Correct?
I think so.
I think so too, because you don't have you append a row or you delete a specific row. And we were testing stuff out, and we probably either manually or like use the interface to delete the very first row. Yeah, okay, awesome. Yay. Biddens has a litter box and catnip.
That's awesome. One thing that you might need to do is refresh the data. So you might need to say products interface dot update data. from
Yeah.
file. Just in case, just so
Yeah.
so before you use the data, just update it.
That's the one argument. Like, it makes life a little easier to define the interface inside the view function to not have to think about that, but it's really like dealer's choice. Like, either way, they both have their pros and cons.
We can get data. And this will then self.update. Update data
Oh,
from file. And then return
how is that?
all data.
Oh, I think I see.
So when we want to get data, we don't just access it like this. We can say this dot get data.
To be honest, what I would say, can we look at that class for that interface for a sec? Can we look at the all data? Is all data a property on that class?
It is.
Could we? No, I was gonna say we could turn it into like a getter or setter or
I was
something
just
so that
gonna, I was
yeah.
just gonna make it a property, yeah.
I want to check in though, because I caught myself. This is always when I bite off more than I can chew. Like, I feel like what you wrote works, and maybe we roll with it and just leave it to do, saying like turn all data into like a getter or setter. What do you think?
I'm just gonna say, make this, or use a property getter. This will go way back to when we talked about decorators, so you'll find that.
Yeah,
You'll find it there.
yeah. All those questions about what are decorators good for?
This. Okay.
Yeah, so I was on the same page. We probably could do it in 30 seconds, but then if we like forget something, then it ends up being like 5 minutes.
Yeah, but this one works.
Yeah,
So
and that
we'll look at
works.
the data. And we're done. Okay, so what's next?
Awesome. I want to check in with you and check in with the class. We can either add Bootstrap, or because it is 11:40, we could just go straight to the shopping cart, which might be the more significant feature to do. What do you think, Zainab?
I would vote for shopping cart.
Same shopping.
Yeah.
I'm not, yeah, pretty sure the whole class is,
Yeah.
we're gonna get like 30 shopping carts in the Zoom. Yeah, let's do shopping cart.
Okay, so maybe we'll start by adding a URL to use.
Yeah, I would
so-
even say, could we just do the whole shopping cart on the same page that we currently have?
Yeah, but we need a route to, like, after we click a button
To redirect?
Yeah, so
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Thank you.
we need to grab the post request pretty much that we're gonna
Yeah,
get.
Yeah.
Okay, what do we want to
Yeah.
call?
so I guess we don't necessarily have to use a post. Let's just call it shopping cart.
Shopping cart?
Wait, what route were you thinking of making?
So when we actually, how do we want to implement this? So we're on
Yeah.
the main page. Do
Yeah,
we want to have a button here that says add to shopping cart, and then it'll do that?
I think right now, for simplicity and prototyping this, that's what I was thinking, like make it, and that raises a really good point. And actually, I should mention this with the class, like the requirements are bigger. Like each product should have its own page that shows more details. And on that page, you click a button and add it to the shopping cart. However, in terms of how we actually build this, it makes a lot of sense to not worry about all the requirements and literally build the simplest pieces all in one place. And Zainab, if you think it makes sense, I think the add to shopping cart button is a great prototype of getting more of our core functionality working.
Yep, I already added it.
Perfect.
It's
Yeah.
ugly. It's gonna, it will do.
No, that's great. And now we start needing JavaScript, I think.
Yeah, let's implement JavaScript because we've shown before how to make requests using a form, but I think JavaScript will give us a lot more functionality and it is easier, I would say.
Agreed. Agreed.
Make a JavaScript file.
Yeah.
I'm
Have
just
we
gonna-
done this before with like the get request?
Mhm.
Okay, I thought so. I just wanted to double check.
Or you mean in JavaScript, right?
Yeah,
To have a function? Yeah, we've done this before.
That- awesome. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. We just test that this is working. Yes.
So for this, oh, sorry.
Yeah, so I was going to say, folks, just to kind of talk through what we're about to do, like we are going to write a JavaScript like on click function that is called when you click a button. This is happening in the browser. What we're going to need that function to do is get the ID of the product and send an HTTP GET request to a different route on our server that we are going to write. And then that view function, like we'll add the item to the cart.
We should be sending a post request because we are wanting to
Oh, you're right.
edit things instead
You're
of
right.
just getting data.
Thank you.
But other than that, yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. Post request.
So to handle the imports, because I'm gonna probably need to import Axios, and later on I'm also gonna import Bootstrap or something like that. I'm gonna create a file that is layout.html. I showed this in one of the previous lectures.
Yeah, it's a great call.
So here I can just make the general HTML page layout. I'm just gonna have head and body.
Do you want me to grab like the CDN links for either of those for you?
If you can, yeah, please.
Okay.
Just for Axios, at least. Okay, so in my header, I'm gonna need to connect it to the static JavaScript file. So here I'm gonna use script. My source is
It's in the Zoom chat.
thank you. I think it's going to be static / main.js, and that should give me the correct one. I always
think
forget
so.
that I think I need to close the script tag. I'm not sure.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Which I always forget to. I only know because I just was looking at the Axios install script. And folks, by the way, to find that, all I did was I just Googled Axios, the library. I think I Googled Axios CDN, and like there were two results. One was right to the link, and the other was from the Axios Getting Started docs, which also included in there a link to that CDN.
So I
And
created.
CDN again, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to mention I added the CDN before my main.js file because I want to
Oh,
use the file. So order matters here.
Yeah, excellent point. Yeah,
So I'm going to create a block and I'm going to call this body. I believe it's just end block. Okay.
for my sanity, can you add a space after body?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we can just go into our index at the top. we will say, pink extends.
I think so. I'll Google the Django template docs and double check.
And it should be layout.html. And then everything
Yep.
that I want to go inside of my body block, I'm going to have to put it inside of a block called body. So
I'm getting excited. I feel like this is all the pieces are starting to come together.
yeah, definitely. Okay, so all of this code, because it's in a block with the same name, it's going to be basically this stuff is going to be injected into the layout one in here. So that's what happens when you use the extent. Okay, I'm gonna save, and hopefully because we did this, the script loads and we are able to see the print in the console. So let's open our console and then refresh. There we go.
Awesome.
All connected.
I love it. I'm excited.
So me too. Okay, so what do we do next with our?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do an on click attribute for that button element. And let's have a JavaScript function named let's just call it add to cart. Add to cart, or if you prefer like handle click or something like that.
No, this is
I
good.
don't-
Add to cart is good.
Yeah. And
I
let's
would
just
say, oh,
sorry, go ahead.
we should probably send in the product ID so we can look for it.
For sure. I was gonna say, let's just define that function and have it also print out hello, and we can just test that out.
Okay. I'm just.
Thank you.
I'm just wary about time. That's why I'm rushing.
Oh, got it.
Okay, main.js. So this function. Add part. And
Yeah, just perfect. And then now I'm totally with you, and we should pass in the ID.
there we go. And every time I click, it handles it. Awesome. Okay, so we should probably take in an ID.
Yeah. And then let's throw that in the console log too, and it'll be null for now. And then once we update our template, we'll get the ID.
Okay. There we go. And then we go back to our index and then we add the ID in here. And we can do that by using the variable syntax.
This is where once we use React, everyone will be so much happier, because this is a little weird. It's like this template HTML file gets interpreted by Django and it like injects those values, and that all happens on the server side. And then in the browser client side, when we click the button, it's like grabbing that data that's been injected somewhere into the HTML, which is cool, but a lot of pieces, and React kind of moves it all to the front end.
Yeah.
And I see that it's working in the console, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what do we do next?
I think we need to create the route in Django and the view function that is going to handle the GET request that we're going to create.
Awesome, let's do that. Should I say add?
Yeah, let's say add product, just to, that's just the verbose. Yeah, I always forget if we need underscore or dash.
I think it's dash for URL type
I think you're right. Yeah.
I'm also gonna add
ID, perfect.
yeah. Product ID.
Yeah, I honestly would just say ID. Totally your call.
Okay. Use dot,
Or you might
just-
be right. Sorry, I shouldn't have gotten so persnickety.
no, it's fine.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter for our MVP.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna create a function called add product.
Awesome. Yeah, I think we're pretty much on the same path here. Like, we can write this function. We can even test it out. Actually, that would be kind of fun to test it out, like just with the browser before even hooking it up to the button.
Mhm.
So I guess the piece we have to handle is we don't have anywhere to look at the cart. So
Yeah,
we'll,
that's what I was
we'll have to do that in a second. I would just, yeah, we should have done that first, but that's okay.
It's okay. We can do, after we add to the cart, we can redirect to a new page that shows all the cart information.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Sorry, I think it's just HTTP response redirect. There we go.
I love the VS Code autocomplete.
Yeah. Redirect, I forget what I have to put in here. I have to put the string of the URL that I want to redirect to.
Yeah, cart
Well,
or shopping cart. What do you think?
I
Just
think so. Shopping cart is, yeah, very
yeah,
descriptive.
yeah, that's what we've been using. Yeah. In fact, I'm almost thinking we should create that route and make that real first and then hook the rest of this up. But I want to check in. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Yeah, let's create the shopping cart path. Let's just have it say hello, and then we'll create our shopping cart CSV file. We'll put some fake data in there. We'll render it, and then we'll go from there.
Oops, shopping cart. I'll put a slash. Use dot. View cart, maybe.
Yeah, or even just shopping cart, to be honest, if you want.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I get really consistent with names because then if I'm doing a global search over the whole code base, it makes it easier to find the related things.
Mhm.
Or if you're searching in like GitHub.
Yeah. Request. I forgot add product actually takes in an ID, so I need to add
Oh, good call.
Okay,
And
so
honestly,
sorry.
oh, nothing. You're good. I was gonna say we could like copy the index code, but you're already like halfway there.
Yeah, I was going to, probably, let's just copy this over. Copy, paste. And then I'm gonna rename this to shopping cart.
Love it. Shopping carts everywhere.
Shopping
Yeah,
cart.
so folks,
With an
the
underscore.
one tricky thing about copying and pasting whole files is we do have to be careful to make sure that we rename variables and stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
So now here it's expecting products.
yeah. And honestly, we could just leave that because it's going to be a list of the things in the cart. I guess there's actually no reason really to change that.
Yeah. Okay. And then I'm
Awesome.
gonna enter the products data, which right now is empty.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, good call. And we can probably look at the page and we just won't see anything in the cart.
Yeah.
And I think you might have already done this already, but if we haven't, we should just change like that page title to be shopping cart.
Oh,
In the
yeah.
template.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so folks, like you'll probably want to like use the template for like a nav bar that like is on all your pages, including the shopping cart, but we're not gonna get into that right now.
No. So we need to add the product. So if we have an ID coming in.
Yeah, I would say,
uh,
how would you feel about getting the shopping cart page working before we finish the add product feature?
we don't have data to show. I mean, the page is working. So if I go to slash
Right,
shopping cart, I already hooked it up.
right. We can create the shopping cart CSV file and put some fake data in there.
Okay, let's do that. So we should probably use a different interface for that. Well, we
Yeah.
need to create a file. Okay, let's start by creating.
Yeah, so I apologize to jump gears. I just really like this technique of like fake it till you make it, and wanted to demonstrate that.
Yeah. So the shopping cart, what are we adding? The
Yeah.
ID and then quantity?
I think we had ID and quantity. To be honest, we probably need to get rid of quantity because we haven't even implemented that functionality anywhere. And let's just have ID and what we can do. Yeah.
We
So,
can have quantity 1 as the default.
okay, we can have a default quantity. You know what we could also do for simplicity's sake, this is, I guess, not best practice, but we could duplicate data and we could stick the product name and price in here so that we don't have to reference both the CSV files when we want all the shopping cart data. We could just stick all of that stuff in here.
Yeah, we can, but
What do you,
I don't think
yeah,
it's
what are your
good
thoughts?
design. I don't think it's good design. It might be easier for us, but it is better to get the hang of going to like a join table, grabbing what we need, and then attaching it to the data that we have.
Okay, okay. I would totally go the easy route and refactor it later, but I'm more than down to do it that way. And it's not that much more work either.
Okay, so I'm gonna create a new shopping cart, like an interface. So shopping cart interface, and this will just pretty much just be hooked up to our new file that we created. Said just way too many times. Okay.
I think it's, yeah, shopping cart. It might, I don't remember if the file name has an underscore or not. Yeah,
It does, it's right here. Yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
forgot.
no worries.
We can
Can we
add
throw
one
some
up.
fake data? Yeah,
Yeah.
let's throw something in there.
So let's say 3 and then 0.
Perfect. Or let's say 1,
Oh,
just
thank you.
because
No, it
that's,
is 1.
yeah,
Yeah, it makes sense.
yeah. And
Um,
folks, this is where the testing that we did with that CSV interface really pays off, because like this, we just have complete confidence in this code, and we just use the same pattern that we did with the products to read from the shopping cart.
mhm. So we can get the data from the shopping cart. And if
Yeah.
we
Yeah, and oh yeah, go ahead, sorry.
we need to access the data from the products too.
Yeah, I would honestly say, let's just render the IDs in our view and then write out the rest of that code.
Let's do that.
But yeah, as long as that makes sense to you.
Let's do that, and there we go. What is not being rendered? I think
Oh, because it's dot name and there's no
yeah.
name.
Where's
Oh, so
my
you were,
right here?
yeah,
So the
yeah.
name doesn't make sense.
yeah. I would
ID.
say, honestly, oh yeah, no, we should change this stuff because we don't want that button either.
There we go.
Yeah, yeah, no, you're totally right.
There we go. So in our shopping cart, we only have the one with ID 3.
Awesome. And now I'm all for doing what you were about to do and sort of doing our manual join table with our 2 CSV files.
Yeah. So we can grab our products. Shopping cart interface, not shopping cart interface, sorry. Products.
Yeah, that interface class is great.
What is that? I wrote it this morning.
That's
that-
awesome. Object-oriented programming.
Woohoo. Okay, so I'm grabbing all my data. I'm probably gonna, because there's nothing sophisticated that is built in for these, I'm gonna probably just have to loop through the products.
Yeah.
And what I need.
Yeah, I would suggest, let's name products all products.
Okay.
And then what we can do is we can create a list named products. And that's where we can like combine everything together. And we're already, or I guess, and then,
Yeah, so I'm gonna say existing
yeah,
part,
yeah,
and then
or we could, yeah,
final
yeah,
data.
exactly. Exactly, perfect.
Okay,
And then let's change line 33 to instead of cart, let's use final data.
yeah, thank you.
And we can worry about like using products as the key for that dictionary, I think is fine for now.
Okay,
Unless you want to change it.
no, I think that's completely fine.
Cool.
Okay, so we have our product. I guess we're checking for the ID, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so I think we might want to loop through existing cart because those are all the IDs that we know we want.
Mhm.
And I might be wrong. Tell me if you think this makes sense. We loop through existing cart,
Mhm.
and then for each one, we grab the data that we want from all products.
And how, but we would have
Or-
to loop through, we would have to do a nested loop. If we just loop through the products and say if it exists in oh, I understand, I see what you're saying. Because existing
it-
cart,
It's a bunch of IDs.
yeah. But it's an object that is that has ID and quantity.
Oh, it has ID and yeah. We might have to, if you have a good path forward, I'm all for it because I forgot about the quantity.
Well, now I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I would say, let's use a nested loop. The amount of data is tiny.
Mhm.
We get it working and then we can refactor.
Let's do it. So for okay. For item.
Yeah.
and-
And on a high level, I guess what we would eventually want to do is basically turn, or we could use like a filter operation.
The
Would be
filter
the other way.
operator, yeah, but the
Yeah,
filter.
there's,
one more time.
yeah. Yeah, if you want, I can Google that if you'd rather just do it now instead of the nested loop.
No, it's okay. So for item and existing cart, we want to, so the ID equals item underscore, or sorry, item
Yeah,
ID. And
Yeah.
then for each product, if product at ID equals the ID that we grabbed, then we want to append it to our final data.
correct. And we
So-
will want to append in the order of ID. I guess the order isn't hugely important. But we need to append the quantity along with all the, we need the
Yeah.
ID quantity name from wherever we get it.
So I'm gonna build a dictionary.
Yeah, good call. Good call.
Yeah.
Great call.
So it has a field called product. And that will be a reference to the product itself.
Oh, great call. That's so much. Yeah, that's going to be pretty simple. There's a little bit of nesting, but that's fine.
Yeah, it should be easily accessible through the templates.
Yeah.
And then the quantity is going to be the item at quantity. So the item,
Yeah.
okay, so this is me building the data,
Yep.
so I need to append this to my final data list.
Yep. I would even, yep. Okay,
Final
yeah, we can do it
data
on one line.
dot append.
Yeah.
Or I can just do it on two if it's easier to see.
Doesn't, I do it on two for teaching purposes. I would probably professionally write it on one. Though the readability, actually, it's not the worst. Part of the reason I like showing it on two, everyone, is because if we get something wrong, we can just throw a console log right in there and see what's going on.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Okay, so this is finding the products that are in the cart and adding it. But we also need to append. Oh no, we're looking for the ID.
I think we might
That's
have,
why I didn't want to loop through the cart first, because we needed to find the product for this one. So we probably need to add. Okay,
wait,
I know what.
hold on.
So for the
Wait,
cart, we can add the ID. So the new ID that we got in.
Yep.
So let's say it was ID 2 and then quantity 1. So we append it to this list, and then we use this list to build our products list. Because that is what
I
this code.
see, because it's in two passes.
Yeah, so this code is going
Before
through.
Right. Before we get rid of this code, I think this
I'm
should
not
be in a
going to.
working state. Are we missing anything?
No, so I'm not going to remove anything. I'm just going to, like, we're
I was
not
gonna-
adding anything to the shopping cart. We're not supposed to. I am so sorry.
No, it's okay, because you're,
Full
no,
disclosure for-
because no, that's why it's pairing too, because you were like deep in the nitty gritty. I saw exactly where you're going. You were thinking about adding, and yeah, I think this
forgot
is working. It's
This
all
one
good.
is adding.
Yeah. Let's test this. Let's go to the page.
This will work fine.
Yeah. Jacob, we can recap that function. Essentially,
Yeah.
we're just doing a nested loop. That's the long story. It's like the quote unquote bad way to do things. But again, this is why really good programmers came up with the principle of first make it work, then make it right. And I think product and product name and all that.
I'm gonna say this is the cart.
Okay,
And then because the cart has a product inside of it in a quantity.
sure. Good call.
So yeah, I'm gonna go back to the HTML page. I'm gonna loop through the cart or items or item.
You can just call it product, to be honest, unless you want to.
Because we have to say dot product. It's an item.
Oh, I see.
It has a quantity. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So item dot product dot ID would give us
Yeah.
the product ID, and then we can do the same for the name now.
Yeah. And Kayla, you are correct. We are showing what's currently in the cart.
Mhm. I
Yeah.
save.
Nice.
There we go. If I add, let's go to our shopping cart CSV. Let's add a few more. Maybe
call.
1, 2, doesn't matter. 2, 1. Okay. So we're adding 2 more objects. Did I did not. Okay. And there we go.
Awesome. Yeah. And there's
should
a few things we
go
can
back?
do to refactor, but this is essentially good code. I think we should walk through what we just wrote, because there were some comments in the chat that would be helpful. And then we should pause and check in both for time and to decide what our next feature to implement is.
Should I go through it?
Yeah, let's walk through it. And in fact, does a student want to walk us through this?
I'll give it a shot. Where do you want to start?
Let's
for it.
start at the URL since that's where we activate this.
Yeah.
Okay,
think-
so you're just talking viewing the cart from the URL.
Correct.
So, all right, so we're in our URLs file. When we call shopping dash cart, it goes into the views at the shopping cart function, which establishes our existing cart. So anything that we've got the shopping cart interface, and it grabs all the data for I can't remember what the get data function was. That was it's just reading the CSV file, right?
Yes, that gets the data from the CSV file.
Yep. So it gets the data from the CSV file for shoppingcart.csv. We declare all products as products interface.get data. So this is like everything that is in our products CSV. And then we're initializing a final data list that we're going to pass in with the response. And then what we're doing is for each item in the existing cart. So now we're in the shopping cart.csv, and we are trying to access the ID of the item. And once we grab that ID, so I guess in the first example, I think the ID was 3. So our ID is 3. And then we're inside the products, and we're just going through the product CSV until we hit the product ID of 3. And once we meet that, the data, we're just creating a dictionary called data that we're assigning the product key to the product, which is, let's see. So product is product ID equals ID. So what we're actually looking at in that all products is like a row of the CSV, right? So the key product is that row, and the quantity is the item that we're on. So item, with the ID of 3, it's looking at that row and reading the quantity of it. Sorry. So I guess, the item is the row in the shopping cart CSV, and product is the row in the products CSV. So we have access to all that information by key. Right. So yeah, so that's what we're appending to our final data list. And then we're passing that in as its own dictionary that is the value of the key cart in the dictionary, I guess. And then once we get into the HTML file, we can actually go through and loop through all that stuff.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Sorry, that got pretty muddy there for a
No, it's
second.
okay. I'll run through it again. So we start off, we trigger this function because we went to the URL. We grab the existing data in our cart, shopping cart CSV. So this one only has the ID of the product that we need and then the quantity. So we grab the existing cart information, and then we grab all the products that we have access to. And this grabs it from the CSV. So these are both lists of dictionaries here. So we loop through our cart items, and we're trying to find the product information for each cart item that we have in our CSV here.
Yeah.
This is really what this is doing.
Let's rename final data to existing cart with product data.
Okay.
That's not the best name, but it's a bit.
Existing cart with product data.
Yeah, I don't know if that's helpful for people. And then on line 38 as well. Or we could even rename it like existing cart underscore all products, actually, which is how we would name the join table if we were doing this in SQL.
This
Or-
works.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
so-
probably overkill.
So we're
Thank you.
basically just looping through our cart, and we are grabbing the product information for that. So instead of an ID, we would send to our HTML page the actual product information. So we loop through our cart, and then we hold on to the ID of that first item in that cart. We then loop through all of our products, we look for the product with that ID, and then we hold on to it. So we hold on to it by using this list. So we're just appending the product information and the quantity information for that item over here. So instead of having 3-1, we have product with the actual product information, and then we have quantity, which is 1, which is the existing item quantity. And yeah, we just append that to a list, and then we send that list in as the cart. And so when it goes to our shopping cart HTML, we are able to loop for the items in the cart, and we have access to the product ID. We can also have access to quantity. So item dot quantity.
Yeah, good call. Yeah, and this is like, think about an SQL join statement where you combine two tables based on ID with like a foreign key. That's exactly what we're doing here. We're just doing it very manually with CSV tables and with a nested loop in a less than ideal way, but we just wanted to get that code working. And again, it's a prototype, so that's more than okay.
Yeah, Eric, you were saying, I think, about the pictures and stuff. So you can access the product name, you can access the product image as well. So if I wanted to
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
an image tag, was image source or href?
Source, I think it's source.
Source.
And then it was image URL. So item.product.image underscore URL.
Image URL. Do I need a closing tag?
I don't think
think
so,
it's
but I'm not 100%.
We'll check it out. There we go.
Yay.
So only one of the images worked, the other ones weren't successful, but we have images.
Yeah, so Icarus and Kayla, it definitely will take everyone in the class longer to build this, which is why you have the weekend. Zainab and I have been doing this for a bunch of years, so that's important to remember. I think the important thing is the way that we built it in pieces and testing it along the way, because that's how you, regardless of the pace of work, can kind of guarantee some consistency and sanity. Like, what I always remember as being the worst experiences programming, where I wrote a ton of code and then like ran my program and I got like 10 errors. And that's the thing to avoid.
Luigi, do you
Luigi,
have a-
yeah.
Yeah, I got a question about that. Like the get information in the CSV, like the interface you made earlier. How are you guys doing that again?
You're basically doing what again?
The shopping cart interface.
Mhm.
How's it working?
So the shopping cart interface is the same type. So I created this as a class. So this interface can have different instances, right? From OOP week. So when I create a new instance, I'm sending in a file name. So when I create my products interface, I send in my products CSV. So this entire interface that I will use will be attached to my CSV file specifically. my products file. Whereas my shopping cart, I put in my shopping cart CSV. And it will handle everything regarding that. So in these instances, you have access to the things that like the attributes and stuff that are in there as usual. So I have a file name attribute, I have an all data attribute, and a column name attribute. We're using get data to grab the all data just because it refreshes the data just to make sure that we don't have anything that's old. And then there's a few methods that you'll have access to regardless of which interface you're using. So they're both following the same blueprint. This one is just for products because I sent in this CSV file, and this one is for shopping cart because I sent in this CSV file. Did that answer? Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Awesome.
Kayla, I saw you had a question as well.
Hello. I saw her, but she disappeared.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah. What's up?
I was saying that I think that I get really confused when it comes to templates and pulling in the names, I guess, like for looping. And can you just like walk through one of the templates and
Yeah, I'll walk through this one because this one has a nested relationship. So what gets sent to the actual template is this. So in the template, you will have access to something called a cart. You won't have access to, oops. Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll have access to the cart. And then whatever is inside that dictionary, if there's nested dictionaries, you can access that information through dot something. Sorry, Adam, did you want to say something?
I was just going to say like that the cart, like we could take part of that return statement and like make it its own. I was gonna say we could just declare it its own variable, like I don't know what we want to call it, like template dictionary or something like that. I don't know if that's helpful, but just, yeah, that's just, we're creating a Python dictionary there, and the key is named cart, and then we're sticking all this other stuff inside of it, and then that's what we have access to in the template. That's all I was going to say. And then I think I was going to say exactly what you were saying about walking through the template itself.
Yeah, I think it'll make a little more sense when you see it here. So on the highest level of this dictionary is a cart.
Okay.
And this cart contains a list.
You might have to make that terminal both
bigger?
taller.
Yeah.
Taller and command plus it a little bit. I wish there was a pretty print. There probably is a.
There is. I just didn't import it.
Oh, we have to import it. That's a pain. Yeah.
Okay, so the highest level is cart, and then it contains within it a list. And I can make this bigger. I feel like this makes it so much worse.
Yeah, I don't know if that helps or not.
It does not.
I'm sorry. I led you astray.
It's okay. Okay. So this cart has a list of dictionaries, and this list is this. So existing cart with product data. So we created this list to hold on to each product data that we come across that we need to have in the cart. So we're building pretty much a list of items that are in the cart that contain a product and then a quantity. So for each item in this list, we have a product, which has all the product information that we had before. So this is the entire product dictionary. This is that. And then the quantity is 1. So the quantity we got from the cart item that came from, where is it? I didn't open it. Came from the shopping cart. So for this first one, the ID was 3 for the product. And then we had a quantity of 1 right here, quantity of 1.
Okay, so this is combining the product CSV and the quantity CSV, and then assigning it like a key, which would be cart.
Exactly.
Cart
Exactly.
gives access to all of that data in the template.
Exactly. So all of this is going to be there, and you have access to the top level thing. So you have access to cart. If you had other things in there, you would have access to it too, but here on the highest level, we only have cart. So to get to the products, cart is a list, so you can loop through whatever is inside of cart, which we did here. So for item in cart, and then each item is going to be one of these dictionaries.
Okay, so that's where item, then dot product, and then
Uh-huh. And then
item.
dot. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and then I see why you didn't add product at quantity, since that's technically a separate.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah, it's like when we combined the stuff from the cart CSV file with the stuff from the product CSV file, we did it by we made a new dictionary, and it has we just added the quantity, and then we just grabbed that other product dictionary and just stuck the whole thing on there. So it's
Okay.
like this other layer inside it.
okay, and can you show the function one more time?
Mhm.
Yeah, the magic is on line 35. Not magic, but that's where
Oh,
that's where we're
on every.
yeah. And in fact, we could name that, we could rename data to item. It's not a huge deal, but then we're using the same name.
So we're using, yeah. we
Oh
can.
shoot, we're using item. I take it back.
That
That's yeah.
makes
I get a little obsessive about naming.
sense.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And the logic is a little tricky with this nested loop. And again, like if we were using SQL, we would write a select statement, like select quantity from cart and, product dot name from products, join on blah, 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 where, and that select statement would give us those rows. And here we're doing that same thing, but with nested loops and lists and dictionaries.
Okay,
And there is that extra layer, because we have the whole product dictionary that is itself inside another dictionary. That is then inside a list inside another dictionary. Sorry,
okay.
I couldn't resist there's a lot of layers. I don't know if we've seen this many layers before. It is a bit much. The good news is we will see this a lot with JavaScript too, with JavaScript and JSON and React. So we'll be doing a lot of work, and in a couple of weeks, I think this will start to feel more comfortable too, which is part of why we're kind of going over it now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, maybe we should stop recording, take a lunch.
Yeah, totally. Let me hit